Instagram and Twitter. Can't wait to commune with her. Can't wait to get up with her. It's the Alabama Church Girl. So what's the topic for this week? Oh man, you're kidding me. The church folks have issues again? Well, you know I love you, but we gotta get it right. I'm PR for the preacher, publicist for the people. All right, Lord, you gotta be with me on this. I feel like Jeremiah. I know the people don't want to hear it, but it's like fire in my bones and I gotta let it out. Lord, when I open up my mouth, you speak for me. Let me have no fear of their faces. All right, y'all, here we go. Well, it's the Alabama Church Girl. Beep, beep, toot, toot.
Beep, beep, toot, toot. Hey, good people, it's your Alabama Church Girl here. First, giving honor to God, who is the head of my life. To all the leaders, saints, and friends, welcome, welcome, welcome on in. I see you coming. I see you coming. Go ahead and drop those church emojis in the chat as you enter in on this evening. I'm so happy to have you here with us on Martin Luther King's Observation Day. Today, we're talking and we're discussing what is Black culture. So go ahead and invite your family, invite your friends, tell them to come on over here into this discussion on this evening. It's a great day to have a discussion such as what is Black culture on this day that we celebrate one of our most wonderful leaders and progressive movers of civil rights in the United States. We are so happy to be here to discuss what is Black culture. See, we got some coming on into the chat. I don't know if you're wanting to come in to discuss what is Black culture on screen, but if you do, give me a yes or no in the chat as you're coming in. Make sure you're dropping your church emojis as you're coming in. Now, I want you to go and get your church leaders. Go and touch your neighbor on the shoulder and tell them, hey, this is the discussion that you need to come in on. I want to hear points of view from you, especially our pastors, especially our ministers, our missionaries, our church mothers, our church leaders. Because honestly, my intention for this conversation is to challenge the mindset, to challenge the oppressive mentality and the misguided behaviors of our Black church community. So tell them, hey, come now. Let's reason together. All right. My name is the Alabama Church Girl, and I promise you I'm not going to bite. Okay. All right, so I'm doing something different on this evening. I have dropped the link down in the chat. So that is to invite guests to come in to have this discussion with me. I feel like today is a day of celebration. So it's a great day to have a community conversation. All right. So as we're coming in on today, I see you, Phyllis. Go ahead and drop your emoji in the chat. Now, I want to have a discussion. We're going to have the discussion. What is Black culture? Now, the dictionary says that culture is the arts and other manifestations of human intellectual achievement regarding collectivity. Its customs, its arts, its social institutions, its achievements of a particular nation, people, or social group. Now, the reason I say today is such a great day to have this discussion is because we're celebrating one of our greatest achievers of our social group, of our people, we can't really call ourselves a nation, but of Black people, Black community. So in that, we also have a celebration of arts. We also have social institutions. We also have achievements. So with all that being stated, how do we collectively put that together and define what is Black culture? Well, the Alabama Church Girl, what does this have to do with church? Well, I'm just a little old lady that's been here on this earth 40 and 3 years ago. And from what I have observed, Black culture has been the bedrock, excuse me, Black church has been the bedrock of Black culture all the days of my life. And I would venture to say that's probably been the case from its inception. It is the bedrock of Black culture. Most of the time, when you see government action or government wanting to involve the Black community, the first place that they're going to stop is the institution of the Black church. So, why is it important for me to have this discussion on a channel such as the Alabama Church Girl channel? Is because this is a discussion that the Black church needs to come now. Let us reason together on how we drive culture. Now, we have several organizations. We have more than several. We have plenty of organizations. We have plenty of other groups that drive culture, Black culture, strongly. Specifically, I will speak of the Divine Nine. We know of the NAACP. Anytime anything happens that is of sensational character, or it is nationally broadcasted, we'll see someone from the NAACP come and speak out on it, or you'll see some of our civil rights activists come and speak out on it. But the only, and what I believe to be the strongest institution of Black community is the Black church. Now, but what is culture? How do we define Black culture? Well, let's have this conversation, as they say in the 70s, on the Black hand side. All right, so culture. There are certain aspects that will define culture. Culture is going to be defined, or the culture of a people will be defined by their communication, their language. You know certain groups of people by what type of language they use. If you walk into Chinatown, you will understand that these are different culture of people. By first thing you'll know is there's a language barrier. You might understand some words, but you might not be able to keep up in that conversation fully because they have a different language. If you walk into let's say, for instance, if I go over to Tulum and have a vacation in Mexico, I understand that this is a different culture from me because there is a language barrier. Yes, I do speak some Spanish, but I'm not as fluent. And sometimes the accent and dialect of that particular area of Mexico is totally different from what I'm familiar with. So I then am able to assess this is a different culture. So I have to basically assimilate to the culture at that time. When, like this, the saying goes, when in Rome, do as the Romans. You also know the culture of a particular group by their food and their eating habits. Well, well, I'm sorry, let me jump back. When it comes to communication and language, now this is something that Black people, I think we have, it's not been validated in the general public, but we definitely have our own communication style. We definitely have our own language. I know that it's been defamed in many places, but we do. We have our own language, and a lot of times that our language and our communication style involves more nonverbal communication than verbal. I see you, Phyllis. I'm not gonna forget about you. Just want to lay the groundwork. Um, but our communication style involves a lot more nonverbal communication than verbal. For instance, if you're sitting in church, like my mother and her daughters, and somebody is misbehaving, and mother is over there in the choir stand, all she got to do is give you that look. And you understand if I don't straighten up, it's not going to be easy for me after this service. In fact, she might just come down from the choir stand and take care of business. So yeah, that communication, we all understand it. No, everybody, and sometimes it's so strong that everybody on the front row, not just me, but everybody on the front row will straighten up and fly right. Amen, amen. So we also sometimes speak in broken dialect, similar to the well um I won't go there, but we speak in broken dialect, and it's easy for us to understand. I have my girl up here. We just celebrated her birthday last week, Zora Neal. She writes in that broken dialect, and she expresses what the language of Black community is. Speaking of, to even have authors such as Zora, who concentrate their work on Black people, hey, it's a great thing. What is, hey, Sarah, beep, beep, toot, toot, who concentrate their work on Black people and Black culture. I'm trying to hold this so you can see it. I hope y'all can see this. Their eyes were watching God. Um, she teaches us through her writing the broken dialect of Black people, where hey, we get to talking, and don't let a group of girlfriends get in the room together and that dialect goes so quick. Somebody that is not a part of that circle, not a part of that community, might get lost trying to keep up with what wait now, what she said, what is it? Now listen, y'all know my husband is not of the community. So sometimes when me and my sisters get to talking, he's asking questions, or me and my girlfriends, he's like, no, wait, what? And it's funny. But I understand that, hey, but I felt the same way. He had some family come in from Greece for Christmas. And I kept looking to his sister like, okay, you're gonna translate for me? Like, what's going on? But hey, it's different culture, different culture. Now, I mentioned also the food is different. That was something else that my in-laws brought from Greece with them. They brought certain ingredients with them, and certain food. They made certain foods that were different. Hey, food is food at the end of the day, and it's all for the nourishment of our bodies, but at the same time we do things differently. We season our food differently. We have a different reason for seasoning our foods differently. For some people in the north, they put their sugar in their grits. I don't understand why, but that's what they do. But down south, we put the salt. We put the salt in the grits on the down south, and you put the cheese in the grits down south. It's a different culture, even though there are um variety and diverseness in that group up north, but because of their region, that makes them a different culture from the us in this southern region. We just do things different. We're different people. Hey, but God made us all. We people are people. Okay. Now, another aspect of culture is defined by relationships. And I'm trying to get through this list so I can bring some people on in. But relationships, our family, our friends, who we keep in our circle, and sometimes, and it could be often, we choose who our family is. We, of course, get to choose who our friends are, but some of our friends become family. I know that when I look at my relationships and my husband's relationships, I see that, I have a lot of cousins. I got a lot of family. And when I tell you we love to be together, we love to be together. Like, to the point where we don't mind. Me and my sisters, we are real grown. We are real grown. But it's nothing for us to go on vacation, get an Airbnb together, and sleep in the same bed. It's nothing. That's my sister. We're gonna talk to each other until we fall asleep anyway. So, and and then I noticed, like, my husband, he has a lot of friends. A lot of friends. And it's not strange, but it's just different. We just have different cultures. And then I think about the fact that his mom migrated into the US. So of course there has to be a building of family. There has to be a shaping of who is going to be family. So those friends come in as family members, and they are those adopted cousins, those are adopted brothers. You know what I mean? So, anywho, the family, the relationships, Black people, we have um I would say a bipolar relationship with family. Sometimes we really love them, and sometimes you see all this nonverbal communication happening here. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes you want to throw them away, like, God, is this the best you can do? But their family still, nonetheless. Um, but we really do. Sometimes, like I said, I'm making a joke of it and I'm trying to make light of it. But at the same time, you have the good and the bad and you work with it, you work through it. One of the things I have come to love about Black people is we have a sense of community. And family is so strong that sometimes your coworkers become family. Relationships are formed to the point where you will go to the end for that person. Another thing about culture, another aspect of culture is having certain values and norms. And I think about those values and norms, and I think about how we strongly value our relationships with our mothers. That's one of those values. No one disrespects the mama. If you do, it's something wrong with you. That's one of them family members you look at like, God, seriously, seriously. We strongly value that relationship to with mother. Mother has a standing and a place in our life where um, anyone who says anything out of order concerning mother, you have to check them and check them quickly, or you make them understand what the value and the norm of this community is. You think about when you were in elementary school and you were on the playground and those your mama jokes. It's not so funny. Sometimes it hits hard and somebody's gonna get hit hard because that's not funny. It's just that's not something we play with in the community. Am I telling the truth, Sarah? Amen. Beliefs and attitudes. It's another aspect of culture that define culture. And I mean, when I'm giving these aspects of culture, these aspects of culture could pertain to any group of people. But I want to tailor this conversation for Black people. All right. So beliefs and attitudes. There are certain beliefs. Even this was really brought out in the season of COVID. Not that we're out of it, but in the height of COVID, uh, medical professionals and officials understood that there had to be a strategic marketing strategy to get the Black community to understand that it would benefit us to take the vaccine. Why? Because there's a belief and there's an attitude amongst the Black community after that Tuskegee experiment that was enough for us to believe that, hey, and there's an attitude, hey, well, we have to accept truth is truth and facts are facts, that a lot of times Black people do not get the same treatment and care in medical facilities as others. So there's a belief that, hey, these people might not be for my best interest. This medicine might not be for my best interest. So how are they going to make it? They had to understand that there's that belief within the community in order to market it to the community to get people to get on board with it. Otherwise, it was never going to happen. I promise you. And then something else. I'm sorry, I majored in marketing, so I have to follow the trend. Something else that they understood in marketing that is that the only way you were going to get the message to the family is through who? Mother. Target the Black woman, that mother. Anywho, back to our regular schedule program. Another aspect of culture is mental processes and learning styles. Whoa, come on, education community. Where are my educators? If you're an educator, just raise your hand. Educators understand this more than anyone. Well, first of all, your mamas understand it. Your Sunday school teachers understand it. Your grandma definitely understands that we mentally process things differently. Our learning style is different. Sometimes, grandma put you, if it can't nobody put you in your place about your mental capacity and your level of learning and understanding like your grandma. Your grandma would tell it like it is. See how I just used that language? Of the community, your grandma is going to tell it like it is. She's going to let you know. Now, I don't know what does that have to do with the price of rice in China, but that has nothing to do with the question I just asked you. Or when you get to misbehaving and your mental process and your mental faculties didn't tell you in enough time, hey, you need to get it together. Grandma's gonna give you that language and tell you, listen, this child don't believe fat meat is greasy. That's how we understand the mental processes and the learning styles. A lot of times, we as people, we are global learners. We need to put our hands on it. We need to feel it. We need to touch it. We need to see it. We need to say it. We need to be ingrained in it for us to get it. You can talk to me all day long, and I think I have a little bit of both, linear as well as global, logical as well as holistic style. But a lot of times, it just depends on the information, the type of information that's given to me. I have to adjust and modify how I'm going to learn this information. But plenty of times I want to put my hands on it. I want to see it. I need to see it, hear it, say it, touch it. If I don't write it down 15 times, because repetition is going to make me retain it, so or if I don't say it, if I don't practice speaking it out of my own mouth, then I'm not going to retain it. I even feel that way about reading books. I told y'all I love books. Last week I told y'all about all these books that I went to the library to get. I wasn't lying to you. I love books. And there's more amongst my own library. But even when I'm reading, a lot of times I'll read out loud, not because I can't hear or I can't understand, but it's because I want to retain. I want to make this information remain. Just like David said, I wrote it on my heart. Thy word have I hidden in my heart that I might not sin against you. Some of these words that when I read Zora, she hits hard, baby. She hits hard. And so I want to hear it. I want to hear myself say it the way she wrote it. You know what I mean? Anywho, I can go on and on and on about books because I love books. But anywho, the last aspect of culture that I want to bring out is work habits and practices. Now, we all know, although some in society try to tell Black people that we lazy, that's a lie. It's a whole lie, and the truth ain't in it. That's a lie. Okay? We work hard for what we want. Amen? Amen. So, all of those who are listening on the line, tap your neighbor and tell your neighbor, Black people work hard for what they want. Now, when it comes to working, we work around our family. That's why people think, Black folks always late. Yeah, if my child getting to school successfully comes first, yeah, I'm gonna come in here 10 minutes late every day. Because that's what's important to me. If my husband getting out of the door with everything that he needs and everything is lined up properly for him, if that's what's the day requires for me, yeah, I'm gonna come in here 5 minutes late because that's the head of my house. But I'm gonna work hard when I get here. Understand that. When I get here, I'm gonna give you all I got. Now, when I get off, don't call me because I want my family. but Black culture, what is Black culture? If we weren't hardworking, then the ship would have never came over to Africa to pick us up. I'm just saying, we wouldn't be here if we weren't hardworking. If we weren't hardworking, the capitalism that America lives on and thrives on today would not have ever been established. Well, I'll take that back because that's real strong. It would have taken all those hundreds of years of our hard work put in for someone else to build it, if not twice as long. But we worked hard to build a system. Understand that. Black culture, work habits, and practices. We work hard for what we want. Think, and even to the point, people there are these stereotypes that are thrown out there. We're going to just pull up one in particular, the welfare mom. Promise you, even in the stereotype, welfare mom works hard for what she wants. Now she might be working hard to get a man, but that's what she wants. she works hard for what she wants. She might be working hard to stay at home and just take care of the kids, but that's what she wants. She gets her hair done. She gets them nails done. She gonna cook real good if she or sex them real good if she want. But she working hard for what she wants. Okay. Now, church. Where does church come in? Now, the Bible told us that He'll give us the desires of our heart. Church comes in because how can they hear without a preacher on what the desires should be? Anywho. Now I'm going to bring a couple people in because I want to try to get to the bottom of what is Black culture. Coming to the stream with us on this evening, we have Miss Phyllis Kelly and Miss Sarah, aka Peaches. Welcome. You're live with the Alabama Church Girl. You can go ahead and unmute yourself. Let's start with Miss Sarah because she was in that chat first. Hi, Miss Sarah. Glad to have you.
Valerie. I'm sorry, Julia. I couldn't understand you. I got a little static for a minute there.
Okay, it's very low. Can you raise your volume, please?
Let me see. How's that?
Just a little bit better. Miss Phyllis, can you hear her?
I can, yes.
Okay.
Hi, Phyllis.
Hey, Peaches. How you doing, cousin?
So, Miss Sarah, how do you define what is Black culture from your perspective?
For me?
Yes.
For me, oh my goodness, what a question. How you answer it? For me, Black culture is hard work, dedication,
determination. Let's think about it for a minute.
Yeah.
Hi, Miss Phyllis.
Hi there, nice to meet you.
Likewise. So Miss Phyllis, looks like she comes from a different culture.
I do come from a different culture.
But how would you define what is Black culture from your perspective?
Well, I think it would take a long time to try to really define it, but I'm here to learn because I do come from a different culture. I am part of your family.
Oh,
so Peaches invited me here, so I wanted to meet my cousins.
Yay!
And my husband is asleep on the sofa here. My husband Warren, he's sleeping on the sofa here.
Valerie, Phyllis's husband is your father's first cousin.
Okay. See, I'm learning. Look at this. The relationship coming together.
But
There you
I'm
go.
just trying to learn all the time. I read a lot and I've read a lot of books, and I thought today would be a great day to try to learn some more about Black culture.
Yay, 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 yay. I'm so glad to have you here. And so glad to learn that of our familiar relationship. Now I'm getting some feedback. Do y'all hear that?
I do.
Me too.
Okay, so could I get one of you to mute? Let's see. Okay, Phyllis, well, both of you have muted. Can you still hear me now? Okay, now, Sarah, Peaches, can you come back?
Okay.
You can unmute. Okay, I think it's
still
your
do.
mic.
I think it's mine too.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You think
So
I should go out? You think I should go out and come back in?
I think so. That probably will
Okay.
fix it.
Okay, I'll go out and come back in.
Okay. So, Phyllis, while we have you on the line, so I was asking around. I'm doing my little survey of what is Black culture. So I began to ask around to my colleagues, and excuse me, one of the sergeants that works in the office with me, first thing he said was he gave an example to the governance of Black community. You know, we have our own little structure of who, when everybody's in the house, you know who that one patriarch or that matriarch of the family, that everybody else, if anything goes haywire, if they say halt, all bodies freeze. So he gave an example of the governance structure, and of course he mentioned mothers, the respect of mothers, like I mentioned earlier. I asked around, I asked my son, and I said, this little boy, my son is 18 years old, but he has a brilliant mind. He tries to stay undercover with it, but he does have a brilliant mind. I asked him what was his perspective of Black culture. How would he define Black culture? Now, I, being mom, expected him to give me an example such as hip hop or the clothes, because that's what most teenagers are into: music, clothes, fashion, that sort of things. And his answer, it shocked me, but then I have so much understanding once I thought about it. His answer was, Black culture is overcoming.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, that's a good one. That's a real good one. Because if you think about all that we learn in history about Black culture, all that we learn in school, because a lot of times if we don't go in and search on our own, we probably don't know. But school will teach us. There it is. Good job. Good.
It's so much better.
Yes. But I was just sharing, Sarah, that I know you're Sarah, so I'm gonna call you Sarah if that's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. I was just sharing how my son defined Black culture as overcoming. And I wasn't expecting such an intrinsic answer, but it's so fitting because Black people have been known to be the overcomers for
That's very true.
so many years. In fact, that was one of the mantras of the civil rights movement. We shall overcome. But when is the day that we have to stop overcoming and we get to a place of homeostasis? We got another participant in the chat. Come on, Saints. Hey there, Stephanie.
That's another one of your cousins, actually.
Hi. Hi, Phyllis.
Hey, Stephanie.
Hey, Peaches. Hey, Valerie.
Hello. Stephanie, nice to meet you. It's so beautiful.
Nice meeting you also. Sorry, I was exercising and Peaches sent me the link.
Thank you. So we're talking about what is Black culture. And today I felt like was the best day to discuss it because when we think about Martin Luther King Jr., of course we think about the civil rights movement.
Absolutely.
But that it didn't start there. You know, Black culture didn't start there, but
Right.
that is one of the crescendos of Black culture. Um, he did such great exploits, and he pushed this community forward in such major ways. But I want to challenge our Black pride on today and ask, when are we going to get to the place that we have to stop overcoming? When are we going to, and how are we going to get to the place that we have to stop overcoming?
Mm.
I see the puzzles on the face right now.
Mm. Mm, mm,
The
mm,
reason
mm,
I'm asking is because when it comes to our place, and if you don't mind, Stephanie, do you mind going on mute for a moment because I can hear your background.
Okay. Let's see.
Please don't leave us. Just to put it on mute. Um, when it comes to the place of our mental capacity as a culture, we are noticing that the culture is taking major hits on mental capacity. And I feel like it's because we've had to be in a position of overcoming for so long. Um, there is a place where physically some people are just ready to give up because we've been in a position of overcoming for so long. When I think about, the movement, the civil rights movement, I didn't live through that movement, but my mom did. And my people did, just a generation ahead of me. And I think about how my mom was one of the first classes of Black kids out of her community that went to public school in our hometown. And then she was selected to go. It wasn't like everybody just went all at the same.
right.
She was selected to go to public school because she was a smart kid. And being in a position to where she had to overcome all the other injustices that were done to it. When are we going to get to that place? Because to this day, we're still in that place of overcoming. Now, what does this have to do with Black community? What does this have to do with Black culture? If this is something that we define ourselves by, are we going to always define ourselves by overcoming? What does this have to do with the Black church? Well, I'm glad you asked. I don't know if y'all listen to Dr. Greg Carr and Dr. Karen Hunter in class with Carr on Saturday mornings, but I love them. I love them dearly. And Dr. Carr always and very often warns us that individuals don't beat institutions. Do I need to say that again? Individuals do not beat institutions. Shout out to Tony Peoples. But individuals don't beat institutions. And I mentioned at the top of this conversation that one of the most long-standing institutions of the Black community is the Black church. I heard a quote just last night, I want to say yesterday, last night, that if you don't, let me make sure I say it correctly. If you don't know your formative narrative, you will adopt someone else's story where they're the heroes that look like them and you become the villain, the ones that look like you. So when it comes to the Black church, I am looking for that formative narrative. It's one of our long-standing institutions. Where else are we going to get the narrative of who we are as a culture? How we're defined as a culture other than the institution of the Black church? Anybody want to speak to that?
I think that there's difficulty in defining Black culture per se, because there's so much division within the Black culture.
I love
There
it
is
when you
no
hit me.
there's no real unity in the Black culture. There is, you have, yeah, the Black church is the longest standing, but even with the Black church, there's division there. Even, I mean, you cannot go into Black culture and find true unity anywhere. And I think that's the breakdown, and that's what's preventing the Black culture from preventing the Black culture from getting to the place where we don't have to, um that we do have to prove ourselves, and we do have to be in a place where we're not, that we're overcoming. We're always in that place of overcoming, and we can't get beyond that place of overcoming because there's absolutely no unity. We're so divided and so different. It's different for everybody.
I love it. I love the challenge. Come on. You know why? Because you spoke on something that I have written right here, and I just want to read what I wrote out in thinking of this conversation. All right. If y'all don't mind, just bear with me for a moment. Black church has been the bedrock of Black community since the early 1800s. Too many church houses have scarred individuals with browbeating of someone else's narrative. The general community is fighting a hierarchical system each and every day.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing we want is to come to the house of God on our day of rest and fight a hierarchical system in the sacred space. We spoke last week about pulpit lynchings of God's people with the congregants as its spectators. For this reason, many have vowed to never come back to Black church.
Mm-hmm.
But woe be unto the shepherds that destroy and scatter sheep of my pasture, saith the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremiah 23:1. Now it is incumbent upon you, the Black church, to go and harvest these sheep back to the house. God's sheep understand that they can be spiritual without the institution. My sheep know my voice, and a stranger they will not follow. But the stewards of the institution must humble themselves to understand you ain't no shepherd without sheep.
Mm-hmm.
Allow people to thrive in their natural selves. Teach the principles of God and show the love of God. Allow them to gravitate and govern themselves accordingly. I say, and I do believe, and I'm going to stand firm on this, that individuals can't be institutions. The longest standing institution of Black culture is the Black church. We have our other organizations like our Divine Nine that are doing great works and great exploits. I mean, we have one in the White House now. Our vice president is a member of the Divine Nine. When we see those organizations out and serving the community and dedicated to serving the community, but at the same time, individuals don't be institutions. So I think that we're at a place, Black church, where we have to get ourselves together and clean up the house. Remember when Jesus went into the temple and turned over the table and said, you know, what y'all doing up in here? I believe, now this is just my thought, my brain, my processing, okay? I believe Jesus cut some folk out.
If he did, Peter did.
Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? I think he put some of that grandma language on them. Like, what in the whole world are you doing in this house?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is supposed to be a house of prayer, and you have turned it into a den of thieves. I mean,
Yeah.
good God, you know what grandma would say.
Mm-hmm.
And this my father's house. Think about your oldest child coming home and everybody just wreaking havoc in Big Mama's house. Oh no, we ain't having it. We are not having it. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just the way I see it. And that's when I read the word, I told y'all I read it out loud. But that's how my spirit interprets. I'm reading. And then the Bible went ahead and gave me some picture that his skin was of bronze and his hair was of wool. So of course I believe he was a black man. And black men, when they get mad,
Okay.
they're going the whole hell off.
Phyllis, you got it? Okay.
So, I that's just the way I see it, that we're at that place now where the Spirit of God is going to have to turn over some tables. Like, y'all got to get this together, because I'm coming back for a church without a spot or wrinkle, and y'all have been blemished for far too long.
Yeah.
I think that Black church has taken on the narrative of somebody else's identity. What is Black culture? How do we do it? We don't have to just like David said to Saul, I can't put on your uniform. I got to do me, man.
That's right.
I got to do me, because I'm not going to fight my enemy. I'm not going to fight this big giant. I'm not going to beat and conquer this giant trying to be you. I got to be me. And that's why church itself, the Black church itself, has to come to a place of allowing each individual in the church to just be themselves, because they can't no one can get in a spiritual place that is divinely set from God trying to be somebody else.
Exactly.
Why? Because when you come to God, they that worship me must worship me in spirit and in truth. I got to be true to myself. Black church, we gotta get up off this homophobic behavior. We do. We got to let people be themselves, because it's a hurt. It's a detriment to our community to try to keep forcing people to be something that they're not.
Right.
Then we want to, get up in the pulpit and bash the down low brothers, but we created that. We want to bash those who are living secretly, but we created that because we would not allow them to live in their truth. Amen, saints. Stephanie, you want to join it? You got something to add in there? Because I hate to take over the conversation. Especially when I have these beautiful ladies on with me tonight. Phyllis, did you have something that you wanted to add or share?
Come on, Phyllis.
No, I'm just taking comment.
I'm not getting into that. I'm not
quiet. I can't believe Phyllis is quiet. Not Phyllis. I have something to add. I always have something to add.
I'm listening.
I think that the biggest problem with our church getting it together is it has become the Black church has become has always been so judgmental, and we don't know how to get rid of that. We got to stop. We got to realize that judging people for whatever they're doing is not our place. Our place is to love them despite who they are. Amen. That's our place, to love. That's what God wants us to do. He got the rest. Mm-hmm. Whatever it is, whatever issue a person have, whatever they bring with them, they bring that. It's not for us to judge them and straighten them out. That's for God to do. All we're supposed to do is to love them. But for whatever reason, we as Black people feel like, well, I've been saved 10 years longer than you, so I'm 10 years closer to God than you are.
Preach.
No, you're not. No, you're not. No, we're not.
Y'all see this nonverbal communication?
Of whether you've been saved 100 years or 10 minutes, you ain't no closer, because his words say that he is not a respecter of persons.
Of persons. You better preach. Get all in my notes
So,
and preach.
so we need to recognize that, and we need to stay in our place. And it would be easier, to bring people into the church, and allow them to be them, and allow the church to grow, and allow that institution to do the best that it can do for everybody that comes there. You know what I'm saying? Rather than to have all this division, because you got these people over here that are doing what they should be doing, is loving on people, but then you got this group over here that's so heavenly bound that they ain't no earthly good.
You all in my
And,
nose.
then, you know what I'm saying? And then you got these over here saying that, well, I have these issues right here, so it don't matter. I'm this is who I am, and they're so busy trying to prove who they are, that if there is a healing, they can't get it, because they just trying to make their way into their space and have their space. But it doesn't have to, it shouldn't be like that. That's not what God intended for us, I don't believe.
So let me tell you my observation, and let me see if it aligns with what you've observed. I'm I think I'll be okay to assume that you have a few more years than me. So
Yes.
you got a few more years of observation than me.
Yes.
So
Don't be jealous.
so what I believe and what I've observed is there is an American heritage and an American culture.
Mhm.
And American culture definitely is defined by capitalism and a hierarchical structure. We place people in different neighborhoods depending on their class. We center individuals and we give them specific respects based on
Right.
their race, their income. The first thing when you go into a social setting, the first thing people want to know is, so what do you do for work?
Got to size you up.
Exactly. Exactly. But that's really not what Black culture was meant to be. But we have taken on that narrative of the American culture. There has to be a master, and then there has to be some up under that
Mhm.
serves the needs of the master. We have preachers who have taken all their charisma. We have church leaders, because it's not just the pastors, but we have church leaders that will take a dominant stance in the church, and they want to be treated as master and servants.
Mhm.
That's not what Black culture was supposed to be. When I say, what is Black culture and how is it being portrayed out of this Black church? Those are the things that I'm challenging. Those are the aspects that I'm challenging, because I have worked, and I don't know how long you guys have been following the Alabama church girl, but I give my testimony. I grew up in the Pentecostal church, which is very charismatic. I went off to college. I was in the gospel choir at Tuskegee University, so I did chapel services, which is totally different from the Pentecostal church. I transferred over to another school, to AUM. I did the Apostolic Church. I went to a non-denominational church, trying to find the right place, the right fitting. Got married, eventually moved away. We were in Church of God in Christ, which was similar to Apostolic, Pentecostal, but with a lot more rules. I came back to Montgomery, was part of the Full Gospel Baptist Church. I've had experience with different denominations. I joined the military, went off. Only thing that was available to me was Catholic church. I came back. I was a choir director for Methodist church. After Methodist church, now I'm married again. And we've been participating at a Presbyterian church. So denominations, honestly, at this stage in my life, I'm glad that I've had the experience that I've had. But denominations to me are like a penny with a hole in them. It's just division. That's all it is to me.
That's what it is.
It's just division. But at the same time, I need to see God. And participating in all those different denominations has shown me how we actually look at that leader. Like how the people that sit in the congregation view their leader and what type of respect that leader gives to people in the congregation. And in my formative years, I will say that I have experienced a lot of that master-slave type of relationship. Remember, I told you aspects of culture. Relationships is one of those aspects of culture. So that's why it's important, Black church, that we get it together. Because how are we going to say that we are here to be the ambassadors of Christ, but we're defining ourselves by those that don't act Christian-like? We take on the properties of what the book would call the Antichrist. I read the book and I see the conflict here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Taking on the properties of the world, but claiming Christianity.
Right. And that's why we have people who have sworn, I'll never go back to Black church again.
Exactly.
Because that's the slave man's religion. That ain't what we were supposed to be. It's not what we were supposed to be. And I will say, we are going to have a part 2 to this conversation on next week, because we're getting close to time to wrap up. I don't want to keep you too long tonight. But there's going to be a part 2 because I want to deal with that diversity piece. You, Sarah, you all in my notes. I just want you to know you all in my notes.
We're gonna have to have a come to Jesus, because you're gonna have to let go of Sarah, Val. We found
Okay. Do you know my older sister is Peaches also? So we're gonna do Peaches.
I'm older than her.
Oh yeah.
So she's going to be Peaches too. Tell her she's going to be Peaches too, because I'm older than her.
Number 1 and number 2. Okay.
That's right.
Stephanie joined us again. Did you want to add something regarding that?
I enjoy this very much. No, I'm like Phyllis. I'm just listening, taking it all in.
Well, Peaches, do you want to share anything regarding that relationship, that slave master relationship dynamic?
I think you're on the right track. I like where you're going with it. I think the bigger question is, what do we have to do? What needs to be done for the church itself to get back on the right track?
And that's where we're going on next week. So I hope you come
back. What I'm saying? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and that's what we need to. We need to be focusing on, how does the church get back on track? Because clearly it's off track. Everybody's doing something different.
And something else that I want to highlight, not only that relationship dynamic, but one church to the next church. I live in Alabama. I am the Alabama church girl. I observe there is a church on every doggone corner.
Chicago too.
Almost everywhere. Maryland,
Chicago too.
Florida,
Chicago too.
Everywhere.
I will say this. I also observe that these churches don't get along with each other.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
I'm a member of the Methodist Church, and we're
Mhm.
kind of going through a split right now.
See,
No,
Oh,
but
it's
I don't think that's a bad thing.
oh,
No,
really?
no,
Now,
I mean, I think, you mentioned the homophobic, and, I
I
think
was,
people want to leave. I think, we had a wonderful minister. Our last minister was from the Black church, and she and I was the chair of the worship committee, and she and I got along really well, and I miss her very much. She taught me a lot about Black church. And she definitely upped our music game, that's for sure.
oh,
okay.
now. Let me
She
say,
got
because
you there.
another part of my notes is that we have perfected the entertainment value of the church.
Absolutely.
But in the
Mhm.
in perfecting the entertainment value of church, we also have pushed out the prophetic value
Mm.
of church. We push
Right.
out the prophetic value of church when we don't honor people in their truth. Because how do we worship? In spirit and in truth.
And
The
in
spirit
truth.
is going to come in when we are being the truest form of ourselves in worship.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
when the spirit comes in, it does not come in empty handed. It's going to bring healing. It's going to bring deliverance. It's going to bring a message. It's going to give us insight. A lot of times we get caught up in the formula of what church should look like so that we can be on the mass media. But then we in operating in that formula, we get so stuck and confined that we miss out on the reformation. We miss out on the movement of God. We miss out on
Mhm.
the foresight of where God is trying to take us.
Mhm.
Doing the same thing over and over and over again. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes repetition is good. But he that has an ear, let it hear what the Spirit is saying unto the church. What he said yesterday might not be the message for today.
Mhm.
When the children of Israel moved about in the wilderness, they had to hear God from day to day. They had to learn to lean and depend on God
Mhm.
from day to day. Now, why did I bring up the children of Israel? Because they were in the state of perpetual overcoming. They look just like we do. Just like this
Mhm.
community, we can look to that depiction and find some similarities. We can look to that depiction of the children of Israel having to have a Red Sea experience. Um, now I'm about to get on my soapbox with this. But we talk we talk about we want reparations and all that. When the children of Israel came out across the Red Sea, they got all their reparations. It was in gold, it was in jewels, it was in they were bedazzled out. They got
Yep.
all their, but they had to listen to the message and the messenger
Right.
Mhm.
from
Mhm.
day to day. Even when they doubted, even when they doubted, they still had to listen to y'all remember once they got out there, they were like, look, the leeks were better in Egypt. At least
Yes.
we had,
Mhm.
some fruits and vegetables. At least I can give my kids something that was good to eat. You got us out here eating this
Yes.
doggone bland manna. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the only way you're gonna, get through and get over and come out is to listen to the messenger. And he had to go before God to hear the message. And he had to
Right.
honor the message.
Yes.
There's so much that we can cover because on this day of celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King, and we compare his story and of being a martyr with Moses' story, we can see some similarities and we can draw some comparisons in those stories as well. I won't go that far because I'm going down rabbit holes right now. But I do want to ask you to come back and bring a friend when you come back on next week. Now, you don't have to cam up every time you come. I will say, if you will, join us on YouTube. go ahead and subscribe on YouTube, and you can just hit the notification bell. Once you hit that notification bell, YouTube will let you know when the Alabama Church Girl is going live, and you can just watch it on your phone and do all. You can still do your workout, Stephanie, while you're listening to it. But if you come up, then of course you can have this link that I'll share with Peaches again on next week.
Okay.
But you can also find the Alabama Church Girl on Facebook. It's the Alabama Church Girl. Please tell your friends to subscribe and like. Come on back, because we have good conversations over here. I want to curate conversation. I'm not afraid of being challenged in this conversation, okay? I'm not afraid of anyone coming to say, Alabama Church Girl, you're wrong. All right, show me. Show me where I'm wrong and help me get right. You know what I mean? Give me. Now y'all know I love books.
I like it.
Bring your resources.
Okay.
I love it. I love it because iron sharpens iron. And I want us to be the best that we can be. And right now, I just don't feel that. What is Black culture? I know that there is potential. Black culture is potential. But we're right now living beneath it. I want us to live the best we can be. I want us to be the best we can be. Why am I talking about our deficiency so much? Because you can't heal what you're not willing to expose. So I'm discussing it. Let's address this and get it right. I want us to get right and let's go home. I really, really do. I had an uncle that's on radio broadcast came onto my show once and was like, the church is a sinking ship. And I was like, who is this uncircumcised Philistine? I didn't say that about God's house and God's people. But then I started looking at what he was saying. I was like, he might be right.
Yeah. A lot of them are right.
But I'm okay, and I still have faith in Black church, because God wouldn't say I'm coming for a church without spot or wrinkle if he didn't know that we would have some spots and wrinkles.
Right.
So now we need dry cleaning.
Right.
So let's
like
get it
that.
right.
I know that's right.
Anybody have any last words that you want to share before we go?
No, I enjoyed this.
Oh, I'm
really
so
did. I enjoyed it. Very interesting.
It was good conversation and very nice
And
to meet you.
Likewise. Thank you for coming, and thank you so much, Peaches, for sharing with all the family and all the friends. I really, really, really appreciate you. Y'all come back now. You hear?
Okay. Bye.
We'll see you.
All
Good to see you, Peaches.
Bye, Phyllis.
Bye.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.